Is this the last warning, or is this the first move? We don't know.
This situation is probably more dire than you think, so let me show you what's going on.
He says, quote, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one.
Is this guy serious?
Trump just said something crazy. Check out this clip here with Glenn Beck. We'll watch it together, then talk about it.
President Trump tweeted something this weekend, on Easter, mind you, and I'm going to quote, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Open, and he says the whole thing, the straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll live in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. Now, there are several ways to look at this, okay? Oh, dear God, the president's gone insane. Oh, my. A man who has never had a drop of alcohol in his life, somehow or another, on Easter decided to drink. Or he's doing something else. Now, I'm not claiming to know what exactly that tweet is all about, but I'd like to tender a guess here. This sounds like a man who is trying to compress time, okay? A deadline. He named targets, power plants, bridges, infrastructure. Dems, of course, are screaming for the 25th Amendment because they think he lost his mind, and that is an important subcategory of this story. I'll get to it here in a second. But let's assume that this is intentional. He didn't lose his mind, okay? Because Donald Trump is not careless. Whatever you think, when it comes to war, he takes it very seriously. To the leadership in Tehran, especially the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the tone is not the headline. The clock and the specific bombing targets are. That's the headline. Because they have to ask themselves a simple question right now. Is this guy serious? Is this the last warning, or is this the first move? We don't know.
The Strait of Hormuz plays an important part in the end-time war of Gog and Magog. Let's take a look at this clip over here and understand why Trump needs to act now on the 7th day of Passover, the day Mashiach comes. Take a look at this clip.
So a few weeks ago, I built a God's eye view of the Iran strikes. A full 4D reconstruction of Operation Epic Fury using satellite, aerial, vessel tracking, and social media data, all visualized on a 3D globe. And you all went crazy. Since then, the crisis has moved to the water, and the world's eyes are on this 21-mile-wide choke point. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Normally, hundreds of ships pass through here every day, carrying a fifth of the world's oil supply. And right now, almost nothing is getting through. Iran has effectively shut down the most important waterway on Earth.
This moment we're in right now is actually more significant than you can imagine.
To give you a real operational picture of what's going on, I've updated God's Eye View to collect a whole lot more data and added ship tracking, dark vessel detection, pipeline routes, and of course the ongoing bombing campaigns. This situation is probably more dire than you think, so let me show you what's going on.
We posted this video on March 15th. Take a look. There's a country, and its name is Botzra. It's called Hormuz. Anybody in the crowd knows what Hormuz is?
This is real ship tracking data. Every arrow is a vessel. Some of these ships are longer than the Empire State Building is tall, and they're all squeezing through this one tiny choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. So I've recorded all the vessel tracking data from February 25th to present day. So before the strait was closed down, this is what traffic looked like. All these ships would go through this narrow passageway. And let me tell you, the traffic was robust. As you can see over here, we've got hundreds of crossing events every single day. And then Operation Epic Fury goes down. And suddenly we're down to just a handful. And in some days, none at all. And after everything shut down, you can see a bunch of ships parked in the ocean over here. Literally like parking structures in the middle of the ocean, waiting for their moment to get out of Dodge. Now we're playing back this scene at 6 hours per second. As you can see, most of these ships are just waiting for their moment to get through this choke point. Let me show you what else we can do over here. I've got a bunch of different layers, but on the left here, you see the overall drop in inbound and outbound shipments as it's taking place. So blue is inbound and yellow is outbound. Check out that drop over there, synchronized to what you're seeing on the right-hand side. That is a precipitous drop, literally down 92.2%, with a pre-day average, based on my data, about 130, down to a post-day average about 10. That is going to have an impact on oil prices. Down over here, you can see global oil futures. So we've got global Brent over here. Watch what happens with the synced timeline view. Prices go up from $70 a barrel very quickly to almost 100, and then well past 100. And right next to it here, you can see US West Texas Intermediate. This is basically a proxy for oil prices in the US. And even the US, despite mobilizing strategic oil reserves, which obviously has prevented this number from going up drastically, is like still going up. But now you may be wondering, while this number did go down drastically, there are ships getting through. As you can see, before the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, all the ships were going through this path over here. Like, this is actually a really narrow waterway, right? And the deepest part of the strait is here in the middle. So a bunch of these like big ass vessels, I'm talking like the size of the Empire State again, that's how they used to make the transit. But if you jump ahead to today, the ships that are actually going through are going far closer to Iran up top over here. So if I isolate this particular ship, this is a Liberia-flagged bulk carrier, Panama-flagged bulk carrier, Bolivia. A bunch of these countries are extremely dependent on the oil that comes through this region. So what's being reported now is that effectively Iran has set up a new toll booth. Basically, they're like, hey, make a deal with us. We'll let you through, and then you'll get like IRGC escort. So here are a bunch of ships that we should take a look at. If I click on them over here, I can see this is Pine Gas, India-flagged LPG tanker. And look, this is an important point because like essentially crude oil is important for obvious reasons, energy, but a bunch of these byproducts like petrochemicals effectively are responsible for, fertilizer production, which can have a huge impact on the food supply of a country. So effectively you've got Iran opening up this toll booth and they're charging for it too. Like, I don't know if India is paying this rate, but some of the numbers that are being reported in the press are like $1 to $2 per barrel. And effectively, these big ass tankers have like 2 to 3 million barrels on their ship, right? So we're talking 2 to 3 mil USD is the toll charge that countries are paying Iran because they're just so dependent on petrochemicals.
What's going to happen if the Iranians close it off? What did Trump say? When he got the bullet, just nipped his ear, God spoke to him. What did God tell him? So what did Trump say? You gave me a bullet in my ear. Any boat that goes through the Hormuz Strait, I'm going to take out. And he says, if you don't stop, we're going to do everything to keep this path of Hormuz open. And Rav Shmuel Eliyahu wrote, and this is the place that's called Mitzrei Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. And he says that 500 years ago, he wrote that this strait is under the control of the Ishmaelim. And blessed is those who understand what this means. Perhaps. Perhaps this place will be the place where the final war will take place. One thing that's impossible to ignore is that if what this video is showing, that the Strait of Hormuz is the pipeline for the entire world to get their oil, and the prices of oil will go up. So Trump must act. He has no choice. At the same token, Iran will not stop being a jihad 12er radical Islamic government. That will not change. The regime idea of eradicating Israel is just the beginning. All infidels, including Christians, must die or accept their faith. That's their goal. And if, in fact, this date, the 7th day of Passover, will be the time of the start of this Gog and Magog war, it may have already begun. You see, These two sides don't back down overnight. I know Trump is saying that he's giving them a deadline, but let me ask you a question. If you're Iran and you are a militant Islamic jihadist, Shiite-run government that wants world domination and is looking for their final prophet to crawl out of a well and destroy the whole world who doesn't follow them, and they hold the keys to the government of America, the prices of oil, how does this end? Let's hope for the best. This is definitely a time that we need to pray. We need to draw close to each other. We need to look into ourselves and what we can do to help bring Mashiach and help spread the light, because it's through embracing the Torah and through embracing God's ways that we can be saved. It's not through intolerance, but through tolerance and through allowing everybody an opportunity to choose that the final war happens. God brings Gog and Magog as God brings everybody up to Jerusalem. All the people who want to come will join Jerusalem. And this speculation, people have been commenting about the speculation of, is this Gog and Magog? And I want to just point you to the Talmud in Tractate Sanhedrin, page 94:1, where it says the following, that in the time of Chizkiyahu and Sancheriv, they wanted to make Chizkiyahu Mashiach, and they wanted to make Sancheriv Gog and Magog. He had 185,000 people who came up against Jerusalem, and they didn't wake up the next morning. Let's hope and pray for the safety of the Iranian people, the Jewish people, and the world at large at this very messianic moment. Shalom from Israel.